Hi everyone, I just want to share with you today a little bit on what values are in drawing. And this is a graphite drawing of my son, Sam. And um, when I talk about, or anyone talks about value, what they're referring to is the intensity of that color. In this case, it is black, or how much saturation there is. So if we look at this grayscale, I'll go over here. You have very dark, and each one of these 1-inch squares, there's 10 of them, get progressively lighter and lighter and lighter and lighter until where the end here is, the end square is white. This is called a gradient scale. Generally, there is 10, so 1 would be the whitest, 2 with slight color in there, 3 a little bit more, 4 darker still, 5 is about mid, it's a nice gray, 6 getting darker, 7, 8 it's really getting dark, 9 it's almost black, and then 10 is pure black. Now, you can do a gradient scale like this using 10 units. You can do a gradient scale that has 20. And when you have a grayscale like this, or a gradient scale, or a value scale, the more that you can use of these into your work, whether it's a portrait, whether it's a landscape, that's where you can really go from 2-dimensional to 3-dimensional. Okay? So in this case, if I put this gradient scale right here, you should be able to see all the different 10 or more values in here. When I say more, I'm saying that you could, if I wanted to, I could really make this super, super dark and press really hard on that graphite pencil and maybe use a 9B instead of a 6B, and I can get it really dark. And I can make this a nice, smooth, much more smoother transition between each unit. And so you can see this really dark is used for the iris. Okay? The areas around his cheek. If I put this here, you can see I got like a, it's probably like that one. So that would be like 1, 2, 3, 4. The areas around his lip is probably even lighter still. If I do this without it next to the shadow, maybe like a 3, 4. And so when you are drawing your subject, what's really important is that you look at the image, study it, put it into black and white, whether it's through your phone or through your tablet, and pay attention to the very, very darks, the very, very lights, and all the different gradients that you have. All right. And you replicate that. So if the shirt is dark, you make that dark. And then you just basically using either a blending stick. Okay, so this is a blending stick. It's an oldie but goodie. You can use a tortillon. You can use a chamois if you want. But you blend, and you can also use a brush to get a very fine, like to get these really fine blending areas right here. I used a brush, okay, like around his nose and up here by the forehead to really blend that in. All right. And so this would be what I would be looking for in a portraiture. So you've got your very darks and you've got your very lights, which will be the whites of the eye, the highlights around the eyebrows, on the tip of the nose, and parts of the lip. Make your darks dark, your lights light. And it just takes practice. That's what it does. It takes practice. This isn't something that can be done like if you've never done a portrait before in graphite or in charcoal, and you can just whip out one like this. This takes practice and time, and allow yourself that time to continue learning and practicing. That's how you get better, okay? And to create the individual lines here of the hair, and my finger, when I put it next to the camera here, it wants to take a focus on my finger and not the drawing here. But in order to get this real fine lines for the hairs, what you do is you put the graphite on there, and then you use something like the Tombow eraser, okay? And you just make really fine lines, okay? You can also use a kneaded eraser. These are wonderful because you can make like a little point here, and you can do the points of highlights that are on this, like in the iris of the eye or on the skin, okay? To make these real fine lines, I just sharpened my pencil, and let me get my pencil in here. Real fine point, probably a number 4, and just did the whiskers, okay?